Welcome to Transport Vlog. My name is Paul, and in this video I'm going to explain how the new Gadigal station is going to work when it opens in a few months' time. Gadigal is one of 4 stations being built within Sydney's CBD as part of the Sydney Metro City and South West extension, and the section from Chatswood to Sydenham is due to open in the middle of this year. Hang on a moment, wasn't this station called Pitt Street? Well, it was until October 2023, which was when the new Gadigal station name was announced. And this new name acknowledges the Gadigal people that were here before we started building bridges over water, tunnels underground, massive skyscrapers and other strange shaped buildings. Pitt Street wasn't a particularly good name anyway, for reasons that will become apparent as you watch this video. In this part of the CBD, the Sydney Metro northbound tunnel runs under Pitt Street and the southbound tunnel under Castlereagh Street, so the tunnels are quite far apart, and that's intentional to create space for wide platforms and spacious connecting passageways. Gadigal will have 2 station buildings for entry and exit, one on Park Street, which I'll call Gadigal North, and this is close to the existing Town Hall station entrances, and another one on Bathurst Street, and I'll refer to this as Gadigal South. So with no actual entrance on Pitt Street, you can see why the original Pitt Street name didn't make complete sense. I'll start with Gadigal South, as this entrance-exit building is already very visible from Bathurst Street. This is how it looked in January 2024. It's been built within an integrated high-rise residential development, and I'll talk more about that shortly. These tall windows will bring natural light into the station concourse, and this entrance-exit building and the use of glass on the front is similar to the new Chalmers Street entrance at Central Station. You can get glimpses of the concourse ceiling through the windows. Now jumping back to early October, which was before the windows went in, and on this day there was a little gap in the hoardings that allowed me to see inside. Over on the left are the 3 escalators that go to an intermediate level, and the opal gates will be before these escalators. You can also see the white panelling on the left wall, and a little more of what look like aluminium battens for the concourse ceiling. The lifts are over on the right, and you can't see them from here. So in this diagram, taken from the Pitt Street Station Design and Precinct Plan, linked to this in the description below, the opal gates will be close to the entrance, with the 3 escalators that you just saw close to the wall on the left, and the 2 lifts within the wall on the right. And this is the intermediate level here, which features some artwork as you can see from these Sydney Metro photos. Also visible are the lower escalators that go to platform level. Here is an animated clip of the bottom of these lower escalators with the toilets on the left. As you can see, these escalators are much longer than the upper escalators that lead up to street level. The 2 lifts built into the wall are now on the left. The area to the right of the entrance will be used for station services, and these continue on the levels above with what look like grills for station and tunnel ventilation systems. So instead of having a separate services building, it's been included in the overall development, so that the station is truly integrated into the building above, which is a 39-storey residential tower. Interestingly, you can't buy an apartment here, you can only rent one, and I believe this is the first build-to-rent tower in Sydney's CBD. It's called Indy Sydney, and it will have 234 stylish 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, along with a rooftop terrace, gym, sauna, lap pool, yoga studio and a residence lounge. It's been designed by Australian architects Bates Smart, and I believe their design includes the Gadigal South station components too. Now on the corner of Bathurst Street and Pitt Street, with the station entrance on the left and the heritage listed Edinburgh Castle Hotel in front of this new development. And now looking from Pitt Street, and this gap is where the entrance to the Indy Sydney residential tower will be. And this is how it might look. On the Pitt Street side, the lower levels are also for the non-public parts of the station, with more ventilation grilles visible. And notice how the station building is currently supporting the crane for the tower above. Indy Sydney is due to be completed by June 2024, so should open at a similar time to the station. So that's the Gadigal South entrance and integrated station development. Let's now take a look at Gadigal North, and the best place to see this is from Park Street. The Gadigal North Station entrance exit building is also incorporated into a large integrated development, and this one will be a commercial office building. And this whole development, including the station entrance, was designed by Foster and Partners, and I believe they were also involved in the design of other aspects of this station as well. Illustrations from the Pitt Street Station Design and Precinct Plan reveal that the Gadigal North Station concourse retail and services areas will occupy the lower 4 floors, and the entrance, which is on Park Street, will have a canopy-like structure called the glass veil, and this will bring natural light into the concourse area. The glass veil is not yet in place, but you can see a supporting structure for it here. And notice the yellow wall that is quite visible behind the hoardings. and peering in through some gaps reveals the two lifts. The one on the right is very obvious, whilst the other lift is partially obscured by the yellow construction vehicle that is in front of it. Also visible are a bank of two escalators that are just to the right of the lifts. And from here you can see those two escalators again on the left and glimpses of another bank of two escalators on the right. The yellow wall at the rear is very visible here, along with the columns that are supporting the ceiling. In this diagram, also taken from the Pitt Street Station Design and Precinct Plan, you can see the location of the two lifts that you saw earlier, along with the two banks of two escalators. And just like at Gadigal South, these also lead to an intermediate level, and that yellow wall continues down to this level. There will be some artwork on this wall, and at the moment it looks like a tunnel entrance. The opal gates will be in front of the escalators and lifts, and these have yet to go in. Now for a virtual journey into the Gadigal North entrance, courtesy of this Sydney Metro animated video. From the opal gates, the lifts and escalators are clearly visible. As you've already seen, the wall at the back is now yellow, and the artwork appears to be quite different to what you see here. 4 columns support the roof, and these include the 2 that you saw a moment ago. From the intermediate level, this bank of 4 escalators will take passengers down to platform level, which is about 17 metres below ground. The Gadigal station platforms were constructed using the binocular design, where each platform and track is housed within its own mined cavern, with passageways known as adits connecting the platforms and station entrances together. And it really is like a pair of binoculars, with the eyepieces being the tunnels, the wider part being the platforms, and the hinged bridge part being the passageways. The platforms at Martin Place were also designed this way, whilst at Victoria Cross it's a single mined cavern, with tracks on either side and a central island platform in the middle. Single and binocular mined caverns are used to excavate underground without demolishing everything above, but are more expensive and complex to build. And you don't get the same sense of space that comes from the other Sydney Metro stations that were built using the cut and cover method. However, a big disadvantage of cut and cover is the need to demolish everything above, and doing that in the centre of Sydney CBD wouldn't be very popular. So now back to the lower escalators that come down from the Gadigal North entrance. And you can see how this leads into this large passageway, which is at platform level. So Gadigal station doesn't have your typical concourse level where opal gates and toilets normally are, which is why the opal gates are at the entrances. This passageway now splits into 2, one for each platform, and with the platform screen doors immediately visible, this naturally leads passengers towards the trains. Here is a recent Sydney Metro photo of one of the platforms. Notice the large amount of space, the very unique wooden seats, and the blue and white design for the curved upper wall that becomes the ceiling. And of course the new station name. Now approaching the southern end of the northbound platform, and another passageway is coming into view on the right. This leads to the Gadigal South entrance exit on Bathurst Street that you saw earlier. The passageway continues to the southbound platform, but most people will turn left to use the escalators to exit the station. A big thank you to Sydney Metro for letting me use their animated video. So to recap, Gadigal Station has 2 platform caverns that contain the tracks and side platforms. And at the bottom of the Gadigal North lower escalators there is a central passageway that then splits into 2 to provide access to each platform. And at the other end, a similar set of passageways connect the platforms to the Gadigal South escalators. It's a little different to the Martin Place Metro station that has a central passageway known as the Arrivals Hall that connects the entrances together, and then a number of smaller passageways leading to the platforms. As I mentioned earlier, the station components occupy the first 4 floors, and the 4th floor has all the station services including plant rooms and ventilation systems. And you can see this level here with all the ventilation grills. The 2 levels below with the large wraparound floor-to-ceiling windows will be for retail outlets, so expect to see a number of cafes, restaurants and shops on these floors. So now on to the commercial development above, which will be called Parkline Place. It's 39 stories in total, including the 4 station levels. It's already looking pretty impressive, even though it's not yet completed. And as I mentioned earlier, the main architects for this development are Foster and Partners, who were also involved in the design of Barangaroo Station, as well as the Salesforce Tower and the Deutsche Bank building. The main entrance to Parkline Place will be on Pitt Street, and it's about where these roller shutter doors currently are. As you can see, it's pretty close to the corner with Park Street. Although not visible as yet, there will be escalators up to the main lift lobby, which will probably be on levels 2 or 3, and this may also be how people get to the retail outlets on these levels as well. The Parkline Place office tower will have an additional entrance on Castlereagh Street, close to the Park Street corner, and is likely to be in this area. Here is one final view of this integrated station development as it was looking in January 2024. So maybe you were wondering what was here before. Well, it's time to find out. So this is how the Gadigal North site looked before the buildings were demolished. On Pitt Street, 252 and 254 were occupied by Hungry Jack's and Discount Chemist, whilst 256 on the corner with Park Street was a large McDonald's restaurant. And I reckon many of you had probably been in this McDonald's at some time or other. 40 to 46 Park Street were these three buildings, whilst on the corner with Castlereagh Street was the Windsor Hotel, which was at 48 Park Street. And next to this hotel, at 175 to 183 Castlereagh Street, was a 14-storey mixed-use commercial building that looked very uninspiring. So if you've worked in or been to any of these buildings, do let me know in the comments. Now for Gadigal South, and adjacent to the Edinburgh Castle Hotel was 127 to 129 Bathurst Street, which was a 5-storey office block. And next to it at 131 to 135 was this late Victorian commercial building called Britannia House. On the other side, the Metro Hotel was at 296 to 300 Pitt Street. It was previously known as Pacific House and was built in 1930. It's rather ironic that the Metro Hotel was demolished to make way for a metro station. I wonder if the owners saw that coming. Next to it, at number 302, was Druids House, a 5-storey building that was originally a factory when it was built in 1909. So that little trip down memory lane completes this video on Gadigal Station and the integrated station development. I hope this gives you a greater insight into how this station will look when it opens in a few months' time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.